How's it going, everyone? I'm KingBlackToof. Lovely to have you back. The developer stream was a very good one. I was very impressed by it, liked it a lot. So you can find all the information you need on Gwent database, but I'm going to go over it now and talk about some of the things. So first of all, the next time there is a faction challenge, there is going to be a counter in the game to see how many wins you get. And not only that, the rewards for the faction challenge will be unlocked instantly when you get them. So this is two great additions to the faction challenge, which I think they are trying to continue with. Now, they also said a big thing, which is the arena mode comes out on the 28th of February, so roughly about a week, which is a huge deal. Okay, so I'm going to have to put out a load of content leading up to that and after that, so watch out for that. Okay, so next up, they said another big thing: there are no silver spies, card advantage spies, in arena. Okay, so they were worried about the object of getting multiple spies in your draw and then getting into round 2 and just playing loads and loads and loads of them would be very unfun. I thought it'd be a very rare instance, but they don't want to deal with that, so they're taking silver spies out of arena drafting completely. Next thing, they said that the closed PTR that was happening has ended, and they went through several phases. Okay, the first phase was you get a choice between 4 cards, and this was all factions and neutral it could be. The second phase was you get a choice between 5 cards and to choose one, all factions and neutral. And then the third phase was 4 cards again, but this time you only got neutral and 2 random factions. Okay, so if it was monsters and Squirtle, then the rest of your entire draft period would be neutral, monster and Squirtle. But it seems like they've chosen to go with 4 particular choices, and you get to choose one of all factions and neutral as the particular way that the arena mode is going to work. But they did say that they will be adding arena events later on where rules are switched up, for example, 2 factions later on. Okay. Now, the new cards, the ones that I'm going to go through here, are mostly intended for arena. I will judge them based on constructed and arena and talk about some of them. So we've got Yennefer Necromancer, and all of these 10 are golds. So this is a 5 strength Nilfgaard gold. Resurrect a bronze or silver soldier from your opponent's graveyard. So we had to look at what silver soldiers are available. The bronze ones don't really matter for constructed, because you've got Vicovaras that can do that type of thing. Obviously, it's nice to have access to those. Monsters don't have any soldiers, as far as I'm aware. But silver's the ones that you really want to go for. And we had a look, and there's not an awful lot of really great ones. Django Fett, or Genge Fret, is a really good one. Ronvid, if he goes into the graveyard before he comes back out, you can take that. And then you've got other things like Jutta on Damun, Odrin, Kieran. Some of the small things, okay? But generally speaking, this is like a discount caretaker. It's limited. I don't necessarily think it will be taken because Vicovara Medic will do most of the job, and the other silver soldiers are very limited. Blue Boy Lugos as well. So I don't necessarily think this will be taken in constructed. But for arena, I also think a lot of soldiers are going to appear, but I still think it's a bit of a risk to do so, and there's probably better golds that you could choose from rather than this one. So Roach Merciless, this is the 5 strength Northern Realms gold. Destroy a face down ambush unit, then draw a card. This card is probably one of the worst. In constructed, it's basically only good against Squirtle, which is very, very risky. And the main thing about this card is, while it's really bad against most other factions, if you do get it off, you get actually card advantage from this particular card, since it draws you a card, which is kind of a big deal, really. But, it's so situational, it's not going to be taken in constructed. Maybe it might be a great option for Uma. I mean, when you play Uma in constructed, if you do, getting this particular card could actually win a game if you're playing against Squirtle. It's a big deal. And things like that we have to be careful of. Okay, next up in arena, I still don't think this card will be taken very much, but there might be things you can do. You'll be able to take your own ambush units if you got access to those, stuff like Morin or sappers and stuff. And then you've got the option of killing your own one if you can't kill the opponents and gain card advantage. You have to ask yourself if the 11 strength of a sapper is worth a card advantage. Most of the time you would say yes, because a silver spy is 13, for example. So in arena, while I still don't think it's going to be taken If you can build your own deck around it just as a safety backup, then it could work. But I still think because thinning an arena is bad, this card is going to be bad. But the positive of the card is huge. So if you can actually manage to get it, a card advantage is huge. So next we've got Dandelion Vainglory. This is a 9 strength neutral gold. Boost south by 3 for each Geralt, Yennefer, Triss and Zoltan in your starting deck. Constructed wise, I mean the maximum value this can get is 18 because you can only have 3 of the golds. So it dictates your golds. But it's a really lore friendly card. It's an amazing design. I love it. But in constructed I think 18, while it's about average for a gold, I think because it dictates all of your gold choices, it's probably not something you would take too often. People will try it. I mean, Geralt Igni, so you can have some pretty decent Geralts. If you're Squirtle, you've got some pretty decent Zoltans. If you're Nilfgaard, you've got some pretty decent Yennefers. So you could try and mix something together. But I think there's better options that synergize better if you want to take golds. However, in Arena, you can actually get more Geralts, more Yennefers, more Trisses, more Zoltans than just 3. So the potential of this card is huge for Arena play. Now, I think it's very rare, but it will happen. So for that reason, it's a really cool card for Arena to sort of, if you start picking Geralt and Yennefers and Trisses, then if you get the option of him at the end, that's a really cool thing just to tie all together, which I think is great. So we've got the Hirua Quacks, possibly. It's a 7 strength gold, a really interesting design, a lot of them are. I really like this card. Deal 5 damage to self. When this unit's current power equals its base strength, deal 7 damage to 3 random units. Now, on the developer stream, they said enemies. Random units means this card is trash, but random enemies, that's a lot better. So maximum power this could be would it be 23? Because it will damage itself by 5. And that's if you get, I think it probably only activates once. It doesn't say single use, but, maybe. We'll see. But it's a really massive risk reward card, kind of like the Succubus, in that you'll play it and it'll go down to 2, and then, you got to heal it or boost it by 5 to get it back where it was and to activate its ability. So it's a very dangerous card, which I don't think will do very well, to be honest. However, it's a massively interesting card, you can't deny. And there's a lot of cool ideas that people have got to try and get this going. So first of all, you've got Agora. She can boost a card in your hand by 5, a random card. If it hits this, people are having the idea that you can boost this in hand by 5. So when you play it, it instantly activates. And that's generally the first thing that people are going for here. So you boost it by 5 using Agora, and then you place it down, done. Really nice. Stefan Skellen is probably the most reliable thing if it works this way. If it does actually activate as soon as you put it down, if you boosted it in hand, that means you can Stefan Skellen it, and then when you play it, because it's 12, it will damage itself by 5, going down to 7, and then activate, which is massive power swing. This is a really big deal, because that means then it's a 28-point play, which is huge. Okay. Which is just really, really nice if you can do that. So be careful of this card in that particular instance. Now, negative might be that you'd lose some value if you hit like 1 or 2 strength units. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But really nice, interesting card. And already people are starting to think of really cool ideas on how you could buff it. Next, we've got Geralt Professional, a 7 strength neutral gold. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If it's a monster unit, destroy it instead. Generally considered a really bad card. Unless you're facing monsters, it's just not going to do very well at all. It'll be an 11 strength gold, which is terrible. Now, the potential is great, if they play a giant toad, then you're going to get a lot of value out of it. If they play, Unseen Elder, you can kill that, and massive value. You can't do Arrakis Queen, because no doubt it'll be targetable. But mostly, it's just going to be not very good at all. However, if you play it in monsters, you could possibly play a Frightener and then play this to kill the Frightener. There might be better ways to do it than this, but especially good if they boost the Frightener with like Mahakam Ale or something, possibly. But yeah, for the most part, this is bad in constructed, and probably better choices in Arena as well. So yeah. So next we've got Moran Forest Child. This is an amazing looking artwork. Oh boy, I'm going to look at this, have a nice hard look at this later on. But for a good 5 minutes. 6 power Squirtle Gold. Ambush, also a Dryad, so Brayan's starting to get a bit more value. She buffs Dryads. When the opponent plays a bronze or silver special card, flip over and cancel its ability. So there's two types of cards that are units that spawn special cards at the minute. You've got things like Woodland Spirit and you've got things like Shiru. Woodland Spirit doesn't actually play a fog. I mean, a fog special card does not go into the graveyard when you've played Woodland Spirit, so this won't cancel Woodland Spirit's fog. But it will cancel Shiru's Scorch because that goes into the graveyard. So there's two different things there, and it'll be about evaluating those. But this ability used to be in the game, and it was kind of mixed reception. While it's really good to stop a Scorch, that could be a game winner, really, you know, and 6 points to you. The issue is that you're playing a 0 strength tempo when you play it. And also, if the opponent doesn't have any special cards that are bronze or silver, it's not going to do anything. Obviously, we saw Roach from earlier, which can destroy this and gain card advantage. Don't necessarily think that's going to be an issue. You might see this in Constructed. I think it's going to be difficult, but it's definitely something which will catch people out. Definitely, absolutely. And so, you know, in round 3, you don't have to worry about low tempo plays, so this is where you'll see it, most likely. But unless people get really predictable with their round 1 plays where a special card is involved, this could be really, you know, I don't know if you'll see it, but it will pop up occasionally. It will screw you over, which is pretty cool. In arena mode, sure, it's a card that could exist. I mean, a lot of people will play bronze and silver specials, I'm sure. Probably not the best option because it's even more random. People are going to go for, you know, it does stop Ruin Stones, I suppose, which would be quite a big deal. You play a gold and they play a 0 tempo play when you cancel their ability. Not sure if it'll appear in Constructed too much or Arena. Series, Fearless. 6 strength, Skellige Gold. Resurrect the next unit you discard. This is a really interesting card as well. I love this set and this developer stream. There's so many good cards. Resurrect the next unit you discard. There's a couple of really cool ideas with this. Like, for example, you place this on the board, then you play Udalryk. You pick one card, and the other card which gets discarded, you get on the board instead, which is really cool, which means there's no negative to Udalryk at all. In fact, it's just more positives, which is amazing. You could also discard something with King Bran. Now, what's worth noting is that this can do golds, okay? So you can discard Madman Lugos, and he comes onto the board, and you get to play him. And, you know, so there's a lot of really cool options. Now, it means that you can use things like Johnny to discard Ciri Dash, we think. We don't know if Ciri Dash will like strengthen when she goes into the graveyard and then come out a bit stronger or not. But even then, you know, you can use Johnny to get a 5th gold, as well as the card that you discard you actually get to play, which is really impressive. Now, there's a massive negative to this, and this is very similar for a lot of the cards in this particular bunch, like that Unicorn that we saw earlier, in that you place this down, it's probably just going to die. And that's going to be the biggest issue here. Like, you play this 6 strength unit, they zap it, you know, you've wasted a gold, it's not been on the board, you haven't been able to discard anything. You know, that's the biggest issue. You might have to consider hand buffing or something like that with Agora, like I mentioned, and just trying to keep it alive, really. So Ceres, in Constructed, I think, you know, I'd like to see it. I don't necessarily think it's going to be played too much because of the vulnerability, and this is the way to keep it safe. And in Arena, probably not, because again, you need to discard something, which is going to be a bit too much of a requirement to take this. But it's a really nice idea, and I hope people do, you know, try and play around with it in Constructed, because I think it could be really fun to play with. Next, we've got Dandelion Poet. This is a 6 strength neutral gold. Draw a card, then play a card. So, it's like the Giant Toad in some respects. It's a gold card, though. Giant Toad is probably undoubtedly better, but it's a neutral, and I feel like it's just a good card, isn't it? You know, you get the 6 strength gold, and you play another card, and you draw a card. It's really nice that you draw the card first, so you can use this as your last turn if you want. It's just a nice card to have access to. It's a very good enabler for deck thinning and, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a really, really nice card, and it would see good play in Constructed and good play in Arena, I reckon. So next we've got Triss Telekinesis. This is a 6 strength neutral gold. Create a bronze special card from either player's starting deck. This one I don't like. It's definitely the most boring. It happened to be the only create shown on the developer stream, and it is the worst card in my opinion. So 6 strength and create a bronze special card from either player's starting deck. Well, you could try and go for some form of Crow's Eye, multiple Crow's Eye. This creates another Crow's Eye, which means it will do sort of like 8 value each hit or something like that. But generally speaking, you're gonna probably get an Alzor's Thunder, or a Mahakam Ale, or Thunderbolt Potion, or something like that. In which case, you know, she's no better than a Silver Mage. She's 1 strength higher. She's just not really worth it. You know, especially because there's some ambiguity about it from the opponent's side of the board, really. So, yeah, I mean, like, if you get Alzor's Thunder, which is probably the best thing you're going to get, it means it's just a Silver Mage, but it's gold and 1 point extra. It's not an amazing card, really. So, Constructed, no. In Arena, probably also no, because you can't rely on them having many bronze special cards. Imlerith Sabbath, the God. Really cool card, this one. It's one of the most interesting cards they've shown. Awesome artwork, awesome ability, love it. Okay. Wild Hunt is going to be quite important later. 5-powered monster gold. Duel the highest enemy on turn end. If this unit survives, heal it by 2 and give it 2 armor. It starts with 2 armor when you play it as well. So, every turn end of yours, it will duel the highest enemy, whatever that may be. Okay, and if it survives, it heals itself by 2 and gives itself 2 armor. So it keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. So you can get a lot of value out of this. Now, the first massive negative is that when you first play it down, the opponent gets a turn to deal with it before you can do anything else. So you'll get some value out of it because it will like combo something, it will duel something. But obviously, if they've got something really, really high, like a 16 strength unit, you're not going to be able to duel it. So you're going to have to hold back. But yeah, and then the opponent gets a turn to kill it off, and that's the bad bit. But if you can get past that, there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with this. Right, you can obviously just swallow potion it, boost it up, so the next time it fights, it beats the crap out of whatever they have, and then it won't heal, but it'll get more armor, and it'll just keep going. It'll be hard to kill. Mandrake, you know, to actually boost it, so it's got more value to heal and stuff like that, and it can just become an unstoppable juggernaut. It'd be so cool. And you can obviously hit the opponent's strongest units, the highest strength units, so that he can more aptly duel them. And there's some other cool concepts. Now, obviously, this is another card which benefits from buffing in hand because it's suitably vulnerable when you place it down. So things like Agora to boost it in hand. You've got a Royal Decree to maybe make it a little bit stronger as well. Anything that can sort of boost it as soon as you place it onto the board. Maybe you stole a Kedwani Siege support or something like that. Yeah, so it's a really cool card, and also it's a Wild Hunt, so the combination of Wild Hunt Drakars, which will strengthen, boost this card when you place it onto the board. So it could, instead of being 5, if you Royal Decree, it would go up to 7 plus 2 armor. If you got a couple of Wild Hunt Drakars, it will go to 9 plus 2 armor, and now it suddenly starts to become a bit more formidable. But it's a lovely, lovely card. I love it. It's so interesting. In Constructed, you're definitely going to see people playing with this card just because it's interesting. Whether it actually manages to become a card that you'll see often, I'm doubting it because of the vulnerability, but people are going to play it for a while. But in Arena, also a nice, interesting card, but you're not going to be able to have the reliability that you can keep it alive. So we'll just have to be worried about that. And so that's all the cards. And I just want to say again that I really like this bunch. And one of the main things that I'm seeing here is vulnerability. And so this is really increasing the value of buffing in hand or trying to keep things alive. You know, Quen doesn't exist, but there are ways to boost things before you play it. You know, Imlerith, he could benefit from that. We've got Ceres could benefit from being like boosted a little bit higher before you place it onto the board somehow. We've also got the Aguara quacks, which could also be benefit from being boosted a bit before you play it. You know, so just these kind of things. I really like these. I hope you enjoyed them too. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again very soon. Hopefully you'll look forward to some arena style videos in the coming week up to the arena, because I want to try and preempt things about the arena and really try and hone in on that, so give you some cool tips before we get into playing it. So see you again very soon, guys. Take care.